Really, motorcycle? Can you fuck off for a minute? Okay, back with another R-rated book review. Today I'm looking at Alexander, Child of a Dream, the first book in a 3-book set from Valerio Massimo Manfredi. Probably shouldn't say it like that, but too late. Now this review is going to be quite brief, as I read this book over a year ago, and I'm just getting around to reviewing it now, as I recently finished the third and final book in the series, and my OCD just doesn't allow me to only review the third book. Now, I love historical fiction, especially anything that relates to ancient Greece, Rome, Egypt, and the Mongols. So when I saw this book at my local used bookstore, I decided I had to pick it up. Now, I'm always fascinated by remarkable stories of men that are nothing like me. Stories that seem like they must be fiction, but actually happened. Alexander's story certainly fits in that category. Talk about a super baby. He was born of a singularly imposing and successful king and general, and a legit crazy bitch mom who slept with snakes and was convinced that her baby daddy wasn't her husband but actually a god. He was also tutored by Aristotle, one of the greatest minds of his or any generation. He killed his first man before he was a teenager and was leading armies before most people finish high school. Descended from the Greek myth Achilles, Alexander's life and journey blends myth and reality. Seriously, if this was a fantasy novel, everyone would be complaining that Alexander was a Gary Stu. Now, there's a plethora of books on Alexander the Great, a seminal figure in the history of warfare and remarkable leaders. As this is the only set of books that I've read on Alexander, I can't compare it to other well-known attempts from authors such as Mary Renault, Stephen Pressfield, and Philip Freeman. I found this book to be an adequate and interesting origin story for the undeniably brief, dazzling, and legendary life of Alexander the Great. I would absolutely recommend it to anyone that has an interest in this area to check out the book, but if it's not your cup of tea, I don't think that Manfredi's tassiography will change your disposition. Now, as I find the 5-star system a bit limiting, I like to use my own arbitrary rating system, SLIC, which stands for Story, Language, Ideas, and Characters on a 10-point scale. Here's how I rated Alexander, Child of a Dream. For story, I gave it a 7. It's a fascinating look at the factors that produced Alexander, but the meat of this story is going to come in volumes 2 and 3. For language, I gave it a 6. The writing is fine, serviceable, but never memorable and doesn't elevate the material. For ideas, I gave it a 6. You won't find any deep analysis here, it's simply a retelling of an incredible story. For characters, I gave it a 9. While the characters aren't his creation, they are nonetheless utterly captivating, as they hardly seem plausible. I also strive for a contrived comparison for every book. This book is like a heavily discounted first course of a Michelin-rated restaurant. It comes with a legendary reputation. It's got some weird burnt foam on it and some sort of Japanese neck tattoo symbol of sauce splashed on the plate. It hardly seems like real food, but it's fine. It certainly whets the appetite, but you know you'll need a few more courses before feeling satisfied. So that's it, just a brief review of the first book of 3, Alexander, Child of a Dream. The second book review will be coming up shortly, followed by the third. The third, of course, will have the most analysis, as it is the one that I read the most recently and was actually able to take notes on. So hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. Give it a like, give it a share, subscribe, kidnap your neighbor's pet, and tell them the only way they're going to get it back is if they listen to my podcast. So yeah, see you next time on Rants, Ramblings, and Reviews.